Hello, welcome back to another session of Mrs. Hewitt's Spelling at Home, your Key Stage 2 word study session. So today I have a prefix for you, and it is one that is a little bit different in that it's actually an assimilated form of another prefix. Now you might think, oh, what does that mean? I'm going to explain, obviously. So your root morpheme today isn't necessarily the main root, but it's the one that we're going to be looking at today. So it's more of a prefix than the middle. It's actually going to attach to some roots. But our focus today is this. Okay, it is diff. So you can see, I don't know if I've written that very clearly, but it's actually a assimilated form of dis. Okay, so we use dis quite a lot as a prefix, meaning not or apart from, but when dis is followed by another morpheme that starts with an F, the S of dis also changes to an F, and you end up with double F, which you'll see when I show you the morpheme grid. So it means not or the opposite of. And basically there were lots of these words used, so a word like difficult, for example, would have originally been difficult, and the S and the F don't really go together. So like lots of things in English, you have changes of spelling because of the way that you say the words, and just over time how people have been speaking has influenced the spelling. So diff is actually means the same as dis. It's just that it's going to have F's coming after it, and that's why it's changed to an F. So I'm going to show you the word grid, the morpheme frame, and in exciting news, it is printed because I'm back at school. Hooray! So I've been able to print out my morpheme grids at last. So although I'm doing these lessons at home, I have been to school and I've got our grids. So that's really exciting. It means I haven't got to sit there and draw it all out. So I'm going to pop this up to the screen nice and close for you, and you can see the words. Okay, I'm going to put it a bit closer because it's a bit smaller than when I write it, isn't it? So pause your video and build your words. Okay, so I hope that was okay for you. If you let's see how you've done. So I have built my words, and you can see from the morpheme grid you've got three sort of main pathways. So you've got differ, we've got difficult, and we've got diffuse. Okay, and these would be the root morphemes of the words. So the fur actually is to do with carrying or bearing something. So that's sort of saying the opposite of doing that, basically. So it's about being apart from as opposed to being similar to. We have got this difficult, which actually comes from the French and then originally the Latin facile, which means easy. So actually, look, difficult is actually not easy, which is obvious when you know it. So that comes from that. So difficult is actually literally means not easy, and fuse is to do with pouring out. So we'll talk about diffusion being a bit of a science word where things go out and are poured away from, but there are main pathways, and you can see all these start with F's, which is why it is diff and not dis. Okay, so let's go to our word sums. You can see there at the top we have got differed. Okay, and again differ has double F because it's the F of the prefix and the F of the root. So we've got differed. They differed in their opinions, basically means they were different. We've got difference there and indifference. So if you can be indifferent about something, it basically means you're not really bothered. So you don't really have different thoughts. You're just like, well, I'm indifferent. I don't really feel anything. So that's that word there. So in meaning not. So not different, not disagreeing. Differently. So you've got the adverb there. And it's important that when we say the word different, we sort of miss out that there. Because it sounds just a bit like different without that but it's actually differ because it comes from differ, and then you're putting the ent on the end. Okay, so different, differently. Diffuse, diffuses. So again, talked about diffuse being a bit of a science word. And we've got diffusion. So you can see we drop the E there when we add the ION. My favourite rule, the shun rule. It's an S here, not a T, because it is fused here with an S. So we've got diffuse, diffusion. Okay, diffusion is the when something is basically poured away from or ekes away from something else. It diffuses. Okay, spreads out. So we've got diffusion, and then down here I've put difficulties. So we did have difficulty with a Y, and when we have difficulties, so that's when it becomes a noun. You say, I'm having a few difficulties with this, as in an actual, it being a thing. We change that Y to an IES when we get the plural. So remember, we don't have YS, it changes to IES. Difficulties, not easy. Having a few not easy feelings with this. So I love that one personally about difficult. So difficulties with the IES. So they are our main words. You need to pick some to write your sentences with. I would suggest you do difference, and then maybe one with different, and then do something to do with difficult or difficulties, because they're the words that you actually are going to use most in your writing. Okay, so that is it. Now remember, so you can remember that dis, look out for your dis and your diff words in your reading, and then see if you can think, oh, that must mean like not something, or the opposite of something, and to see if you can figure out where those where that word originally comes from. Okay, so go away and write your sentences, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.